welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Charles Alpha. My sign language interpreter is Taiwo Ozoma. Let's begin now with some of our top stories. Nigeria secures second major gas investment in 18 months. National Accountants of Nigeria holds fifth session of 2025 mandatory continuing professional development program. And the United Nations and the International Red Cross demand all crossing into Gaza opened. Thank you for joining us. The United Nations and the International Red Cross have called for all crossings into Gaza to be open to allow those desperately needing aid into the Israeli blockade Palestinian territory. From Apani reports, Trump made the visit to Israel, where he loaded Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in an address to Parliament and leaders of Egypt, Qatar and Turkey, where they signed the declaration on as guarantors to the Gaza deal.
The fragile truce in war-ravaged Gaza, introduced under U.S. President Donald Trump's plan, needs to see crossings open to flood the famine-hit territory with aid.
And again, to be updated in the next hours, but to my knowledge, not all entry points are open to have humanitarian aid inside Gaza. And that's the main issue right now. And that's what humanitarians, including the ICRC, have been calling for in the last hours, is making sure that because of the huge needs, all entry points can be open.
Meanwhile, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer says the Israel-Hamas ceasefire agreement is the first real chance of a two-state solution in 2 decades, paying tribute to US President Donald Trump.
While we celebrate the relief of peace today, making that peace last will be no less difficult a task. Along with our allies, our absolute focus in the days and weeks ahead is the relentless implementation of this peace plan.
At the Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Gaza, US President Donald Trump, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Emir of Qatar Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan signed a declaration on as the guarantors of a Gaza deal aimed at ending 2 years of war. According to the declaration, the signatories pledged to pursue a comprehensive vision of peace, security and shared prosperity in the region, and also welcome the progress achieved in establishing comprehensive and durable peace arrangements in the Gaza Strip. Hamas on Monday freed the last 20 surviving hostages it held 2 years of captivity in Gaza. In exchange, Israel released 1,968 mostly Palestinian prisoners held in its jails, its prison service said. Under the ceasefire agreement, Hamas is also due to return the bodies of 27 hostages who died or were killed in captivity, as well as the remains of a soldier killed in 2014 during a previous Gaza conflict. Of the prisoners Israel freed in return, about 250 were security detainees, including many convicted of killings Israelis, while 1,700 were taken into custody by the army in Gaza during the war. Frama Pani, NTA News.
Cameroon's opposition challenger Issa Chiroma Bakare claimed re-election victory on Tuesday against incumbent President Paul Biya, who has been in power for 43 years, although official results for the weekend vote are not expected for 2 weeks. Our victory is clear. It must be respected, Chiroma declared in a post on Facebook. He urged the government to accelerate or accept the truth of the ballot box or plunge the country into turmoil, and promised to publish detailed results by region the people have chosen, he added. While the tally sheets are allowed to be published, final official results must be announced by the country's Constitutional Council, a red line that must not be crossed. According to the government, images of sheets and blackboards tallying the results have circulated on social media, fueling the victory claims among both Biya and Chiroma's camps. Nicolas Maduro's time is up, but he can still leave power peacefully. Venezuelan Nobel Peace Prize laureate Maria Corina Machado said in an interview, offering a barbed olive branch to Venezuela's long-lasting leaders. 58-year-old Machado said President Maduro could get personal guarantees if he were to cede power. She hopes to leverage her win along with mounting pressure from the United States to oust a government that has been in power for more than a quarter of a century under Maduro and his predecessor Hugo Chavez. Now, Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State has defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC, in a major political shift that further weakens the People's Democratic Party's hold in the southeast. Mbah announced the move, framing it as a strategic realignment to reposition Enugu politically and economically. The defection followed Monday's mass crossover by members of his cabinet, local government chairmen, state lawmakers, and party executives across the 17 local government areas. Vice President Kashim Shettima led an APC delegation to Enugu to receive Mbah on behalf of President Bola Tinubu. He was joined by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, House Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, and APC National Chairman Nentawe Yilwada, and several APC governors.
Sadly, for the past 10 to 12 years, the Ndibo, one of the most vibrant ethnic groups in Africa, has been in the margin of Nigerian politics. Now, with the coming of Governor Ndubuisi Mbah, with the continuous energy being exhibited by Governor Hope Uzodimma and Governor Francis Iwipuru, I believe the Ndibo have come to the mainstream of Nigerian politics.
The event held in Enugu capped days of speculations and signals growing APC inroads in a region long dominated by opposition parties. Mbah now becomes the most senior elected APC official, saying the Southeast shift, analysts say, could influence wider regional political dynamics ahead of 2027. And President Bola Tinubu has communicated Senate seeking confirmation of Professor George Amputan as chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the letter of request alongside other communications to the Senate from the President for approval of appointments. The request is in line with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
This is referred to the Committee of the Whole for consideration as soon as practicable.
Senate has set up an ad hoc committee tasked to come up with a position paper on current discussions at U.S. Congress on alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. The position paper is expected to contain facts and statistics will be shared with the executive arm and will also form the reaction of the Senate on the issue. And still from the legislature, the House of Representatives has stated its determination to find a middle ground in the industrial dispute between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. At Tuesday's plenary, the House tasked an ad hoc committee led by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin to wade into the impasse and find a lasting solution, as well as facilitate suspension of the 2-week strike declared by ASU. National Assembly correspondent Peter Aikman reports.
Lawmakers are concerned that ASU's 2-week warning strike could snowball into a bigger crisis that will deepen the frustrations of students, parents, and lecturers. They warn that time is of the essence to broker a deal between the federal government and ASU.
The House urged both parties to exercise restraint, embrace constructive dialogue, and prioritize the interests of students and national development above all other considerations.
Meanwhile, the House resolved to investigate a petition brought against the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board over age restriction policy.
For enforcing an illegal and arbitrary admission age restriction policy in contempt of the judgments of 2 superior courts of records, in disregard for the fundamental rights of affected candidates and a resolution of the House of Representatives.
To expand maritime infrastructure and boost the blue economy in line with the renewed hope agenda of the federal government, lawmakers advocate more deep-sea ports.
Urge the federal government, through Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and other relevant agencies, to initiate a collaborative framework with the government of Akwa Ibom State for the establishment and realization of the Ibom deep sea ports that could attract investment worth over $5.6 billion.
Following renewed bandit attacks in parts of Sokoto State, the House called for intensified military onslaught.
Urge the Nigerian armed forces to immediately reinforce deployment and enhance joint operations in Kuchi area of Kebe Tambuwal local government to secure lives, property, and farmlands. Mandates the committees on ECOWAS Parliament and Foreign Affairs to help normalize relations with neighboring states, especially the Niger Republic, to enable cross-border intelligence sharing.
Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State was in plenary to witness the formal defection of 3 lawmakers from his state who left the PDP for APC. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has welcomed the news of Shell's $2 billion final investment decision on a new gas project in the shallow offshore high field in OML 144. The new non-associated gas development project will deliver approximately 350 million standard cubic feet of gas per day from 2028, equivalent to almost a third of the requirements of Nigeria's LNG Limited's Train 7 project. The announcement brings total significant upstream investment commitments through final investment decisions in Nigeria's oil and gas sector to over $8 billion since President Tinubu assumed office in 2023, underscoring the success of his reform agenda and the renewed confidence of global investors. This investment decision is Nigeria's third major oil and gas feed in the last 18 months, following the UBETA non-associated gas projects and the Bonga North deep water project. It marks yet another milestone in Nigeria's journey to unlocking its abundant gas resources for domestic and export use. The UBETA and high gas projects can supply up to 15% of the NLNG's total feed gas requirements, covering trains 1 to 7. And you're still watching the news on NTA International. More reports ahead. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured Nigerians that the economy has turned a corner and the hardships being endured will soon be over. The Vice President said this at the first Nigeria Renewable Energy Innovation Forum in Abuja, where he emphasized that Nigeria must not only participate in Africa's renewable energy drive, but must lead it. Dennis Adeguloye reports.
This first Nigeria Renewable Energy Innovation Forum, convened by the Rural Electrification Agency, REA, is seeking investments in local production of renewable products. And for Vice President Kashim Shettima, it serves as a platform to establish Nigeria as a hub for renewable energy manufacturing in Africa, and Nigeria's energy transition presents an investment opportunity of over $410 billion between now and 2060. And from this figure, more than 23 billion naira is required to expand energy access and connect the millions of Nigerians who still live in energy poverty.
But beyond access lies our grander ambition, which is to deliver a power system capable of 277 gigawatts of total installed capacity by 2060. This ambition demands more than investment. It demands innovation, local capacity, and commitment. That is why the team of this year's forms, implementing the Nigeria Peace Policy, facilitating local content development and manufacturing in the renewable energy ecosystem, is not only timely, but indeed essential. Our commitment to a Nigeria-based industrial strategy calls on us to anchor the future of Africa's renewable energy supply chains right here at home.
Under the forum, more than $400 million is being invested into Nigeria's renewable energy manufacturing value chain, thereby creating employment opportunities.
These investments are projected to create over 1,500 direct jobs across multiple states and reflect growing global confidence in Nigeria's clean energy industrialization drive.
Within our sector, the Nigerian First policy reflects our determination to ensure that the next generation of clean energy technologies, from solar panels to battery energy storage systems, deployed across the country, proudly carry the label made in Nigeria.
Each partnership formed here, Your Excellency, will contribute to answering a single question. That is, how do we ensure that Nigeria not only participates in, but leads the renewable energy revolution in Africa?
As the world races towards net zero emissions, the consensus at this forum is that Africa cannot and must not be left behind. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
The African Climate Forum, a premier continental conference that brings together leading minds from across Africa and beyond to chart actionable net zero pathways, has commenced in Abuja, Nigeria. This year's theme, Bolder, Greener and Better Steps, Closing Transition Gaps, provides a platform for consolidating Africa's positions on climate action, fostering a collaboration driven by innovative, nature-based solutions to environmental challenges. Since its inaugural edition in 2023, the African Climate Forum has stood as a beacon of hope, innovation and collaboration. For a continent bearing the brunt of climate change, the urgency for decisive action has never been greater. Stakeholders remain resolute in their mission to drive meaningful climate progress across Africa. Despite several financial pledges made at global climate conferences, Africa continues to struggle with systematic gaps that limit its ability to secure fair and equitable deals.
We must make Article 6 not just a carbon market mechanism, but a vehicle for development cooperation.
Climate change issues across Africa, and in particular climate justice, are of import to the Nigerian people.
With the theme Bolder, Greener, Better, Closing Transition Gaps in Africa, organizers believe the continent must lead with courage, embracing innovation, nature-based solutions, and a transition that works for all through stronger collaboration and investment.
The Africa Climate Forum has emerged as a cornerstone of the global climate action. The decisions we make today will shape the world we live for the future generations.
The pressing question is no longer what Africa needs, but what Africa will decisively choose to do differently.
Over the next 2 days, the summit will also showcase exhibitions highlighting government and indigenous efforts towards achieving Nigeria's net zero ambition. Charles Alpha. The federal government is pushing for the enactment of 2 legislations to combat cybercrimes in the country. When enacted, the acts will replace the Cybercrimes Prohibition Prevention Act 2015. The Latumbi of our Judiciary Desk reports.
This is the annual Cybercrimes Awareness Campaign and the second national consultations on the cybercrimes legal framework in Nigeria. The forum is a national consultation shaping the 2 bills. The first focuses on cybercrime as a criminal justice instrument, and the second bill is on cybersecurity governance and critical infrastructure protection. Participants at the week-long forum have the view that the two legislations will establish a robust, modern legal architecture that reflects global best practices in line with the Budapest Convention and the United Nations Convention on Cybercrime 2024. The proposed legislations, when passed into law, will ensure that Nigeria's digital sovereignty is protected under the rule of law.
The increasing complexity around cybercrimes demands a whole of government and whole of society response, and Nigeria's response has been deliberate and evolving.
To effectively address these challenges, there is an urgent need for a coherent and well-informed legal and institutional response.
Participants believe strongly that the theme of the national consultation towards a coordinated and informed national response to cybercrime is not a slogan but a national imperative.
And when we speak about cybercrime, it's not just cybercrime, but also electronic evidence, which is pivotal and very volatile.
It is our honor and our privilege to work with Nigerian government law enforcement to tackle cybercrime.
The digital domain has become the new battlefield of economic survival, public trust, and national security. Hence, Nigeria cannot stand as a passive observer in this war without borders. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
A Nigerian sculptor with a decade of experience in the crafts has gifted the Nigerian Television Authority NTA a sculpture crafted from royal stone with the station's logo. This gesture he explains stems from his profound admiration for NTA's unwavering dedication to fulfilling its mission across Nigeria and beyond.
And I've been seeing NTA taking time to go to rural areas to gather news. In fact, I've been watching NTA for years, and the epitomic hard work of NTA, I say, let me demonstrate it on a stone sculpture, because stone sculptures are sculptures that are highly durable. You know, stone cannot get rotten, stones don't decay. As a present to them, and I know that when it is kept, many generations will see it.
Hamid Dembas, Director General of NTA, represented by the Executive Director of Administration and Training, commended the sculptor's efforts and pledged support to foster more vibrant artistic platforms that will contribute to national development.
The support that you may need in the future. NTA is a home, and we are ready always to partner with you in any area you think you will choose.
The sculpture, which took over 6 months to carve, was locally produced to enhance NTA's artistic appeal, symbolizing strength and devotion to public service. Now, accounting professionalism demands sufficient allocation and utilization of resources to ensure maximal value for citizens. These are words of President and Chairman of Council Association of National Accountants of Nigeria, ANAN, and its 5th session of 2025 mandatory continuing professional development program held at Ahmadu Bello International Conference Center, Bauchi. Muazu Hassan reports.
The 5th session provides a platform for professional accountants to engage in intellectual discourse, share insight, and refine their expertise.
As professionals who play a key role in driving financial integrity, corporate accountability, and public trust, the need for continuous development cannot be overemphasized.
MCPD is designed to empower us, members of this association, with the tools and knowledge to navigate these changes successfully.
While corporate value creation and reporting is the theme for the session, which holds great significance in evolving socio-economic landscape of Nigeria. Effective expenditure measures, rigorous audits, and robust performance management systems remain paramount.
Over time, the association has deliberately alternated and interlinked the concept of corporate value creation and public value management, thereby emphasizing that accountability and reporting should go beyond financial outcomes.
We are proud of such trainings that have shaped us, not just as accountants, but as leaders in public service.
The knowledge and skills acquired by the participants will empower them to champion reform, embrace digital transformation, and enhance service delivery in both public and private sectors in line with global best practices. In Bauchi, Moaz Hassan, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has learned with profound sadness that Ambassador Joy Uche Angela Ogu, who was 79, has passed away. The former Minister of Foreign Affairs and former Ambassador, Permanent Representative of Nigeria to the United Nations in New York. Ambassador Ogu represented Nigeria at the United Nations from May 2008 to May 2017. A skilled diplomat and scholar, she served as the Director General of the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, where she made invaluable contributions to developing Nigeria's foreign policy and international relations. Scholarship with inspiring dedication and skill. She presided over the United Nations Security Council twice, first in July 2010 and again in October 2011. President Tinubu extolled the late ambassador for projecting Nigeria's voice with clarity and purpose and working tirelessly for global peace, disarmament, international security, and the advancement of women's rights. The President extends his heartfelt condolences to Ambassador Ogu's 5 children, grandchildren, sisters, and brothers, the entire Ogu family, and the diplomatic and academic community, mourning the passing of the distinguished diplomat. President Tinubu prays for the repose of her soul and for divine comfort for all who mourn the diplomat. This is where we end the news. Many thanks for being part of it. I am Charles. Alpha Taiwo Zoma has been our sign language interpreter.